Attention pilots, they're signing the sheet for the Wings credit program with the FAA. So anybody that wants the Wings credit, where's the pilots? All the pilots step up. Registered online? Okay. And she said just in case, maybe sign the sheet. If you don't know what Wings credit is, don't sign the sheet. It's not for you. We have to ask the question, it's not for you.
Woodrow? Out of crossing. I'm in white email. 55 and over.
Nice. I can't wait. I got another.
Oh, don't blink. Don't trust me when I tell you that. Don't blink because you're going to be sick of riots.
Yeah, was it 2036? 2036? How many years ago? You got those. Right there.
Yeah, I was real pleased to see you guys. I was glad.
Gentlemen and ladies, we're going to get started in just a moment. Anybody back there wants to join in on the seminar, come forward, please.
I mean, for my part, I can stand up here, right?
Good morning. My name's
Bob Posamato. I'm the fast speed program. I know it. I hear myself feedback and it's too loud. Good morning. My name's Bob Posamato. I'm one of the fast team program managers at the Philadelphia FISDO. I've been there in the fast team position now since November last year. Been with the FAA just coming up on 9 years, various positions around here as an inspector, aviation safety inspector on the operations side. So my background's being a pilot, background in military and law enforcement. So thank you for coming to our presentation today. We appreciate your participation in this, and I want to just make sure if anybody hasn't signed up yet, please come on up here and get on the list and get signed up so that you can get credit for this.
I don't want it. It's being broadcast to a lot of people watching it from
Yeah,
home.
but there's too much feedback.
I'll lower the volume. I'll lower the volume.
So, again, thank you for coming to our presentation today, and I think that's all I have. Let me introduce Brian Robbins. He's going to be giving the presentation on stabilized approaches.
Good morning, Brian. Long time no see.
5 minutes. All right, perfect. Now bring down the volume over here so it doesn't.
All right, I'm just trying to make sure I can see this. All right. Good morning. I'm Brian Robbins. I'm a flight instructor, single engine, multi-engine, seaplane, single twins. I've been doing it for probably about 38 years now, so I've seen quite a bit. But the idea here is one of the things I see all the times, and is people doing stabilized approaches. I try to teach it. after somebody gets rated and they're flying for a while, it's easy to be like, it's a nice day, let's just go. And then those skills start to drop. They come back, we fly, I'm like, you forgot all this stuff. So we go back and their landings start getting slick again. So it's important to keep proficient. So the FAST team is doing a program on stabilized approaches, because if they're not, my students, they don't land if they can't do a stabilized approach. Why try to do a landing if you can't even do a stabilized approach to get you to the runway? So what I try to do is I'm working constantly trying to get that stabilized approach, then just follow through with the landing, and then we work on a nice stabilized landing. If you can or can't see the TV, I'm trying to get up there. Let me see. First few slides in the program, I'm going to talk a little more about things, but the slides talk about a lot about statistics. So the things to think about. Oops. Basically, the slide on the statistics, it talks about a lot of the problems, the high accident rates are people trying to land, and the people trying to do the approach. On approach, they get messed up. Same thing with go-arounds. There's a little bit in the program about go-arounds. If you're coming into land, like today, so many people, they get in their mind that I'm going to go fly today. It's a beautiful day. They don't take in the big picture. I just tell my students, close your eyes. What do you feel? I got wind. Where's it coming from? Is it sunny day? There might be thermals. What's the things going to affect your landing when you're coming in, or even flying the traffic pattern? If you plan where the winds, they call me, a lot of times they tell me, what are you Master Yoda or something? How do you know? I'll come into land, I'll be like, watch the bump coming up. They go, how'd you know that? I'm like, well, the wind's coming from there today, and there's a building right here, and it hits that building and swirls around the building, and right here's where we got that bump. How do you know that? Taking the big picture. When these planes come in, when he comes in, you're getting your plane ready to go fly. Watch that guy. He's already inventing the landing today. See if he's rocking and rolling and having a hard time landing. That's free information, no charge. Tell my students, look at it, watch, is he touching down or is he having a hard time? You might want to say, I really don't want to go fly today. Go home and have a barbecue instead. But there's free information out there, and you're taking that environment around you when you're trying to do things. So the statistics are saying it happens when you're coming in on the approach or you're landing. It's a high time. You can bump into things. You're close to the ground. I'm going to go through a couple of the slides real quick on the statistics. We don't need details on that. But the four main things are what's happening with the wind, objects, animals, substances on the ground. I've seen everything. I don't know, half a dozen years back, I went into North Philly Airport, and I go, hey, Tower, there's a dog on the runway. And it's not a dog, it's a coyote. Right? And talk about substance. You go, you clear the runway, you're taxiing down. I'm like, Tower, coyote left stuff on the taxiway. It's like, it's no joke. It's like, so you never know what you're going to run to on the ground besides animals. It could be snow. You can get a sunny day like today, and it melts the snow, and it's just wet. And then a little later, the sun starts to set, the temperatures kick down, and next thing you know, a half hour later, it's turned back to ice again. Hey, it was fine a half hour ago. I went out, flew for a half hour, and came back, and then I slid off the runway. Have the big picture in. Terrain is another one. We're in flatland, but you go places where there's hills, different things affect when you're coming into approach and land, is the terrain can make a change. And the runway land, takeoff, taxi, and when it says surface on the slide, that's about surface operations and seaplanes. Can anybody see that slide at all? Can you pick out the detail in there of what that slide's about? Just look at the windsock and the plane coming into land. I'll come back to the airport and I'll see 3 or 4 planes, and they don't land in the first quarter to a third. They're landing 3/4 of the way down, jamming on the brakes, trying to stop, and you're like, why don't they look at the windsock? And then you got 2 of them doing it, and another guy comes in the pattern, hey, what you using? We're using this runway. And you got a third guy doing it. And none of them can realize why they can't land. look, the windsock. And this was a guy I know. And so I'm like, I got to take a picture and text this to him because I'd like, really? So that's what that one's about, is pay attention to the windsock. And if you go out, half hour later, the system could have moved a little bit and the windsock could change. And if it changes, the whole dynamics of your landing, you come in for a landing, can change. People also
All right.
have preferred runway lots.
Ethan Noble here. Figured I'd hop into the wings presentation really quick
And
and
they
give you
just
guys an
think calm wind,
update.
I'm
So we have the
taking
wings
off this
presentation
way.
going on in the tent.
But they
And
never look
coming
at
in
the
right
winds a
now
lot.
on
I'm just
final
following the
is
traffic
Dave
pattern.
Williamson
I
coming
don't
in for
worry
the
about
spot
the
landing
winds. It's
contest. Let's
calm
go ahead and
winds.
take a
I don't
shot of
worry.
the cockpit.
But up at
Dave's
3,000
plane.
feet,
We have
it's
a
showing
live shot
25
inside
knots.
the cockpit.
So
Hopefully
just
the
above
Chief of
treetop
Master
height,
Control there
you
could
might
go ahead and
have
bring up
10 or
that shot for
15
me.
knots, and you still can't
I still
figure
see
out
the
why
tent,
you can't
though.
land,
Do not see the
because
plane
all the way down
cockpit.
to the trees, you're really sailing with the tailwind.
Okay, there we go. There's the cockpit to the plane. That's them coming in for a landing right now. And let's see if I can get this camera on it. Yep, and there it is there. If you want to take this camera too, Keith, you can do that.
What's the wind?
There he is coming in.
The trees. And if it
See how
doesn't
close
matter
he
which
hits
way I
this.
take off and it's calm wind,
Oh, that was
I'm
pretty
like,
good.
where's the wind coming from? I'll take off, get the
That was
trees,
almost
I'll
right in the
get
box. We're going to have to go to the actual
trees.
official score. But all right, let's go back over to the wings presentation.
And this one, if you could, it's hard to see. I hear in daylight. I apologize, but the picture on the right that's over at Trenton Robbinsville, and we're always looking out for Bambi and company running around by the taxiway and the runway, especially when it's dusk. They'd like to come out and prance around. The one on the right is Flying W. They like to park over there, and the Flying W deer in particular, you're like, okay, stay there. And you line up with the runway to take off, and you see them going like, hey, I'm watching you. And then as soon as you power up, hey, let's go out there and prance right in front of you, and I dare you to hit me, you know? And it's like, do they do this on purpose, the deer? But there's deer, there's coyotes, there's foxes, bunny rabbits, wild turkeys, turkey vultures, you name it. We've got a zoo at a lot of airports. They seem to like it. Watch out for the animals. Birds in the morning like to take off from their roosting overnight. At nighttime, hey, it's starting to get dark. Let's go roost for the night and call it a day. So when's the time you might think about birds coming or taking off is sunrise, sunset time. There's a thing that the military has called BASH. I think it's bird avoidance suspension hours, something like that. But what it is they have this, it goes into effect because they stop, it costs them a lot of money if they suck a bird into a big engine. So they're like, it's cheaper if we just suspend flying if there's bird activity around those times at certain times of year when the birds are migrating. Hold that thought. But anyway, the military even does it because it saves them a lot of money replacing engines and damage and potential accidents. They just suspend flying for a little bit during that time when the birds are coming and going. The wild turkeys like to go hop in the trees. They'll run across the runway, go to the woods, jump up in the tree for the night. So, when you're flying and you're coming down to land, it's getting twilightish out that time of day. It's harder to see. You don't see these things, and then they run around and prance out in front of you. So there's the wildlife factor to worry about. And if you're trying, go ahead. Yeah. If you're trying to land, you're focused on that, and you don't want a distraction. You don't want somebody talking to you unless they're saying, "Watch out for that plane." It's like you don't want to be like, "Hi, do you want a steak for dinner?" No, I'm landing. Keep that thought for a minute. And terrain depends on where you go. Let's see, which one's this? That's going over the Grand Canyon. You get the winds can blow through the canyon and they hit the walls and they come up.
All right, go ahead. Okay, bring it up in 5, 4,
Can't
3,
see it on the slide very well, but in the upper left,
5 back
there
here at the
is
runway for the
Grand
spot
Canyon.
landing contest. I don't think this guy is actually doing the contest. I think it's just transient aviation coming in. Or maybe he is. He's holding it out. Oh, he's holding it out. I guess he is. Oh, he landed way short, though. All right, it looks like we might be able to go back to the cockpit camera now. If you want to cut to that one, Keith. He's on final, so it's going to come up any second. Maybe go to one different camera so I can get a shot of that plane coming in.
So
All right, I'll come around, spin around and get it.
minimize
All right,
the
here.
risk when you're trying to do
There you
these
go. I
stabilized
think you should have me
approaches,
now
like,
with the plane coming in.
I'll do
This
it.
is
I'll
Dave
walk
Williamson
up
again
and
coming
I'm
around.
watching out where the wind's blowing from today. If it's blowing from flat land, that's fine. If it's blowing by a mountain,
Go ahead.
it's not so fine.
There's a shot of him inside the cockpit live.
He's still trying to land. Another one to be concerned about is you get
All right,
a lot
so
of thermals.
we just got
Go
the
over
scores in
green
for his first
area,
two
you get some
landings. He
thermals,
scored,
come back to
what was the score again?
But this is coming into Fort Myers Airport down in Florida.
Okay,
Lot of
75,
asphalt,
0,
lot of
and
concrete.
25.
All that sun
that
in
correct?
Florida makes a lot of thermals, and now you're trying to come
On his
in
first
and land.
landing. Yep.
And
Sounds
what's
good.
it
All right, let's
doing
go back
you?
to the wings
You know,
presentation.
It's making it a little more interesting. If you go earlier in the morning or towards the later in the day, you can minimize those thermals. Florida usually gets thunderstorms later in the day. They're afternoon thunderstorms. Just plan on it. Why take off when you're getting ready for, here's the afternoon thunderstorms coming. Can anybody see it? Can you see that at all? What happens when you don't even see the terrain? That's a couple of weeks ago, going out by Barnegat. I was on a night proficiency flight with a guy, and he was doing some instruments. Put the goggles on so he can't see. He's flying by gauges. I'm like, hey, take the goggles off. It's a beautiful night. He looks up and goes, "Where is everything?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, you have unrestricted visibility. I got more than 10 miles of visibility. Very beautiful. But where is everything?" I'm like, "It's nighttime." That's Barnegat Bay. Yeah, Ocean and Barnegat Bay. And the surprising thing is, just ahead of there, that little white spot you see is the moon. It was just coming up a little bit. But when you're coming into land at nighttime, you don't have these visual references, and it's hard to have a stabilized approach because you're trying to come down, and things you normally see during the day of like, oh, there's the windsock, there's this, I see this going on. Nighttime, you're here into the black hole. You got to be even more on guard for it because nighttime can get you. Come on. I did a flight track on a gent who hasn't flown at night for a while. And we came back, and that's Flying W is on the left side of those lines. And we're coming into land, and I said, let's see what you do. And judgment. He says, okay, I got the airport beacon at night. I say, okay, let's see what you do. That's his traffic pattern. It's over here, over there. He lost it 2 times around. He lost the airport. He's like, I see the beacon, but where'd the runway go? I'm like, the wind's blowing you. Remember we talked about the wind. What's it doing to you tonight? He wanted to fly a little wider pattern, so I have a little more room to maneuver, to line up with the runway. He went so wide, lost the runway. So that's the couple laps around trying to land. We were going counterclockwise on that little loop right there. And to finally like, nope, just stay at this altitude, go here, line up with there's the runway. And he's like, we need to go practice some more. I'm like, yeah. When's the last time you did night? 3 years ago? And so the proficiency shows. So if you're not, don't go out and try to do it on your own if you're not proficient. Take an instructor with you, or at least somebody who's been flying and is proficient in current. Because this is the kind of stuff gets you. And he was trying to descend to come into land, and he didn't even have the runway in sight. How is this a stabilized approach? You're trying to do an approach to a runway that you can't even see, and it's dark out. So make a little thinking here process here. Another one that gets you. That's a couple weeks back also. That's at Robbinsville. When it talks about runway, land,
do you want me here now?
And you say, I want to look and see what's happening.
All right, we got the plane that just landed for the spot landing contest with pilot Dave, and Taylor just poked her head out of the cockpit there a second ago.
Right in front of that sun right there is Robbinsville's runway trying to come in at night. Same thing can happen in the morning if you're trying to take off and the sun's rising. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to wait 20 minutes, let the sun move a little bit. I see more runway, I have better chance of a stabilized approach. Yeah, man. There we go. This one, hard for you guys to see, so I will. That is actually the METAR for McGuire Air Force Base when I was going to fly a month ago. You remember those days when it was nice and warm and steamy? You didn't have to worry about frostbite or anything? I think it says 240 feet, Don't mind me, early morning. 2740 is the density altitude. And I'm flying with a jet, and we're maxed out in this Cherokee 140 on weight. When you look at that on a hot day and you're already almost 3,000 feet, and you're gonna try to come in or take off, and you're like, we're not doing too well, we're not performing, we don't have a lot of excess power to overcome the thinner air on that day. So it's like some days you may not wanna go if it's gonna be the density, it's hot. Why do you wanna get in a hot airplane? How good does everybody feel when you're hot? When you're hot, sticky, humid, and you're like, how good is your brain functioning on a critical time trying to land or approach the airport? How good is that? Think about your body too. It's not just, oh, the plane can handle it. What about me? I don't know about you, and I'm not so happy getting in a hot airplane and trying to take off on a high density altitude day. It's, again, the safety factor of things. There's another option. A lot of places around, that's a flight simulator. So what I like to suggest is, the heat index today is 105. The back room with the simulator is a nice, comfortable, air-conditioned room. Why don't we go fly the sim? So I went out with the same guy in the Cherokee 140. We decided too hot. We're not going to perform today. Call it a day. Let's go in and do your approaches on the sim for practice. After we got done, he got his proficiency in, everything I was going to do that we were going to do in the airplane, but it was much cooler, and it's just doing it smart. But you go outside and you see planes trying to climb out, and they hardly can climb because it's so hot and humid out. Just think. More some of the slides about different things and human factors, use of equipment and information, actions rather than inactions. Do something. So many people go, well, they're flying, but they don't take any action to go, well, they're flying, I'm going to go fly. Well, take an action, no. With the tailwind trying to land with the windsock. I'm like, why don't you just call on the radio? He actually told me, I saw the windsock flip around, but everybody was still going this way. Well, take an action. Say, hey, gents, why don't we reverse the traffic pattern here because the wind's reversed and we'll land into the wind like we're supposed to. But inaction can be just as bad as doing a wrong action. It's just no action at all. Let's see, information processing, aeronautical decision making, attention and monitoring, and planning and preparation. I find a lot of people don't plan until they actually show up to the airport. I fly all the time, so I'm looking every day. What's tomorrow, next day, and I can look at the trend. Some people say Saturday's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible. It was supposed to be horrible Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It got horrible Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Things getting here earlier. It's moving faster than they predicted. Let's schedule for Saturday. Next thing you know, beautiful day Saturday. So be prepared, monitor things, try to study what's going on with the system. Just don't be like, looks good enough, and people launch. Let's see. When you're trying to do a landing, I see people come in and they're like, they're used to landing at like Trenton, Toms River, long runways, and then they go someplace with a smaller runway. They're not used to it. Know what the landing distances are, what's available, what's your capabilities, what's your aircraft capabilities. I get people, you come and like, my God, how do you guys land on this postage stamp? What speed do you fly? Well, that's 10 knots over, the reference speed for your final approach. Yeah, but I like that extra speed for a safety margin. Well, when you go off the end of the runway, that goes out the door. So it's look at the landing distance, takeoff distance, the air density we talked about, wind direction. The airplanes have a limit. It's actually not a limiting factor. It's a demonstrated maximum crosswind. But if they demonstrated this and they're trying to prove this airplane can do stuff, do you think you're good enough as a test pilot to go out and like, wow, I got a nice 30-knot crosswind today, but I can do it. And I've even seen people where they go, well, I have to come against that one day. I might come back and it might be 30-knot crosswind, and I'm going to have to deal with it. And they still land, and you watch them. It's like smash, boom, bang, like, trying to destroy the gear. And I don't know, half a dozen years ago, I came back from Florida at night, and I was coming up from Hamilton direction going to Flying W, doing the instrument approach at 2,000 feet, and I had a 50-knot crosswind. I was flying to Flying W this way, but I was looking at Philadelphia. And I'm like this. The plan is if it comes down and the wind subsides and I can land, fine. If not, we're going someplace else where it's lined up into the wind. That's a safe decision, but you'll see people coming in time after time. I made my mind, I'm going here, and they're going to do it, whether it kills them or not. And no, don't let it kill you. Go someplace else. It's better that way. Let's see. Bear with me a second. The other thing, talks about different rules about percentage and runways. For example, 50% down the runway, 70% of your rotation speed. How many people do you do a departure briefing? And it may sound like airline, it may sound like military, but every time we get ready to go, if we're not up to this speed by this point, or we're not off the ground by that point, what are we going to do? If we get to a certain point and we can get off the ground, if the engine doesn't continue to make performance, when do we have to decide we're going to come back down on the runway and re-land on the runway without keeping going? Make those decisions. If I get up above the treetops and I'm a few feet out, what am I going to do if the engine quits here? Or they don't always quit. I've had throttles jam. You go to bring the power up. Actually, I was coming in for a landing and wind picked up. I'm like, oh, I have a little power. It's not working. The throttle got jammed. Something moved inside the engine compartment and jammed my throttle linkage. So it's like sometimes you don't get an engine failure. You'll get a reduction or a bad running engine that's still producing power. But if you know in your mind, when that happens, you don't go, oh, what do I do? Because that's wasting time. If you've already made that pre-departure briefing and said, here I'm going to do this, here I'm going to do that, and you stick with it, you've already made the decisions. Now it's just executing your plan. So try to talk about making those plans before you launch. Don't be launching and deciding, what am I going to do now, because it's wasting time. Stabilize short field final approach. Full flaps. Everybody likes to do everything and destabilize at the end. They're like, okay, I'm right down here in numbers. Let me drop all the flaps and do this and let me slip the plane. And they throw everything all at the end there. It's no longer stable. I like to be nice and stable, stay with it, and have the right speeds, the right configurations at the right time, and I touch down. They're like, how do you land every time in that same spot? I'm like, put a dot there. I'll land on that dot every time. I'm consistent. Every time I fly, I do the same configurations, the same speeds, and the only thing I adjust for is where the wind's coming from, or a headwind, or no wind, depending on the day. Same thing for density, altitude. If it's hot and the air is thinner, your true air speed's faster. So if you come in and you're doing 70 knots, day you might be doing 70 knots. On a hot day, you might be doing 80 knots across the ground. So it's faster. Things come up faster. But put it into the mix, making your planning. Just bear with me on this. There's a bunch of slides on landing certification. I'm not going to drill into those. What it is when they certify an airplane, they have to meet certain standards that they can land in certain, here's the distance they land, here's the speeds they can come in on the approach, the stall speeds and configurations, and all the different metrics that they have to have for certification. That's what this is about. So airplanes are designed to do things, but when that airplane's brand new, this is what people also overlook. The plane's brand new. It's nice and slick. Brand new paint, brand new propeller, brand new engine, and they perform a certain way and they tested them that way. Now you get a plane that's 20 years old. It's got more bugs on there than you have weight in the cargo compartment. It's like they don't perform the same. So when you look at your performance tables that it was maybe certified to and says, here's what to expect, add yourself a safety margin. Not saying with speed, but if it says I'll get off the ground at 1,000 feet, I'm going to say I'm 1,500 feet. Because I'm not performing like I did with a brand new airplane. Add some safety margin in there because it's not a brand new airplane. And bear with me. More stuff. And you'll see people, they want to be Gonna bring it down, and I'm gonna smack it right on the runway while I'm still banking. I'll put it right there, and I have to impress everybody. I prefer to impress them that I had a guy sleeping in the back seat, and he didn't even wake up when I landed. You know, it's like, I tell him, it's like, that's impressive. I just come in nice and stable, touch it down nice. I'm over, and when he hears the engine shut down, we're here? Yeah, I don't need to impress anybody with any diving in behind trees or anything unusual. My impression is doing it right, doing it clean, doing it super, super impressive. A few slides they talk about, and I'm just going to drill into that a little bit. Everybody I know likes to say, I'm on the proper glide path because I'm on the VASI or the PAPI approach lights. If you don't know what the VASI or PAPIs are, it's a light. It's usually on the side of the runway. If you get a couple white lights, you're high from a glide coming in. Red means you're low. Red and white, you're right on target. But it's a visual transition. You're coming in on an instrument approach. It's a very shallow approach, and so when you pop out of the clouds on an instrument approach, you pop out and I start to see the runway. I see the VASI lights, and it's just a very shallow approach coming in nice and stable to get you down to the runway at the touchdown zone markers area. And that's what it's for. But the objective of the day, I'm coming out of clouds. I want to acquire something visual on the runway and land on it without getting back up in the clouds again. That's my objective. If you lose an engine when you're out there a couple miles, you might be on that glide path perfect. You lose an engine, you're out there in those trees. So what everybody does is, I'm on the proper glide path. All it says is I'm clearing my obstacles, as that visual. I'm transitioning from instruments, I'm clearing my obstacles because I'm in muck and rain and nasty day. That's all it's telling me. Doesn't mean you're gonna make the runway. So if it's a beautiful day like today, and you're 2-3 miles out, and you're looking at that VASI light, you're going, I'm right on the glide path. Failed your engine. Where are you going to be? Like, bad day. Learn to not fly excessively high, but give yourself a little steeper of a glide path coming in. If my engine quits, I want to make asphalt. That's just my process. If my engine quits, I want to be making asphalt. If I can't make asphalt, I stop giving up altitude on a visual day. If I'm coming out of instruments, I'm looking at the lights for transitioning out of the clouds. It's two different things, but everybody says, oh, I'm on the VASI light. I'm on the proper path. Yeah, well, try survivability. These days when an engine fails or an engine has a problem, it's not producing power and you need to add a little more power and it doesn't come back, like throttle jam, I made runway. I'm here. I guess my theory's working so far. This is just talking about, there's a table, it's in some of the approach plates, the flips that talks about, here's how much altitude and speed and everything that you would lose on a certain speed and your ground speed. I'm not going to drill into it. You got to have the aircraft in the landing configuration, having flown a stabilized approach at a speed of not less than VREF down to a 50-foot height. This is more certification stuff. I'll skip over that. More stuff. And these are the problems that they're talking about in this slide. Failure to assess required landing distance. And if you're a heavy plane, it takes more power to get that plane moving. But the reciprocal is true. It takes more power, it takes longer distance to slow that mass down. It's like, how long does it take to stop something that's 1,000 pounds as opposed to something that's 5,000 pounds? You're going to eat up a lot more runway trying to land because you're just heavier, it's slowing it down. Unstabilized approach is the big problem. Excess airspeed, and I hear everybody saying, it's like, oh yeah, I just like to add a few knots extra for safety. It doesn't say anything about that in POHs, in the pilot handbooks. If you're adding it because of a gust factor, it's a different story. But they like to add perfectly calm days, and people will add extra speed in. And every time they land, you'll see them sail down the runway and eat up half the runway that they really don't need. And they go, how do you land so short? I fly the speeds. I fly the right speeds, and I don't have to add in safety factors and extra because I feel comfortable, and it's fly the speeds that are in the POH, and you'll get a desired outcome. Excess threshold crossing height. A lot of people, they'll like, I don't want to land in the beginning of the runway, I want to land further down. But then you're giving up all that landing runway. You land halfway down and your brakes fail, where you're going to be. I hardly even use my brakes. Everybody, they land, they stomp on the brakes. I'm like, why? You want to pay for brakes? Nothing is cheap on an airplane. You know, it's like just land. Land in the first quarter to a third. Stay off the brakes. When you start slowing down and like, okay, or if I need to, I'll use the brakes. But we got 2,000 feet more runway, and why are you jamming on the brakes to get off here? It don't make sense. Landing long, same thing. They'll shoot, push the threshold where they're landing further up. They'll land long, more or less runway. Adverse wind conditions. The other thing I find, how many people know what pilot-induced oscillation is? Right? And this is where you look in the big picture. Pilot-induced oscillation is when you come down, you're flaring to land, and you're bringing that nose up, and you're just touching down, and you just a little bit, I'll wait, start to settle a little more, and you just hear the wheels start to spin. It's a beautiful thing. But when people come down, they'll be like, here comes the runway, let me pull back. And then the plane starts to go up, oh, I'm going up, let me push forward. And they start doing that. And now you've destabilized the approach, and it's easy to hit the nose wheel and start a porpoise. It's easy to balloon, start to run out of energy, and it wants to plop down. But watch pilot-induced oscillation on that. The other thing they'll do, and this is one that people don't think about. Oh, the wind's blowing me to the left. Let me go here. Oh, I'm too far. Let me go back. And they do oscillations left and right. And then they're like, oh, I'm high. Power back. Not just a little bit. They go, oh, I'm high. Pull the power way back. I'm low. Let me push the power way up. They oscillate the power too. It's not just the pitch. They oscillate everything. And I'm usually like, put the power here, line up with the runway, just back a little bit, wait. And it's like, it was less stressful too. Nice landings, less stress, instead of, you know, yeah.
I'm usually on the controls by then, Brian. I can't take anymore.
Greg here is designated examiner. He gets to see people doing it to him regularly. So it's, so there's pilot-induced oscillations, and when they do it, it destabilizes the approach, and it leads to a lot of this stuff that, oh, I am not a predetermined spot where I'm going to land and flare. They're like up and down, and I'll go down the runway wherever I touch down. It messes up everything, and it destabilizes it. And that's what this is all about, is destabilizing. Let's see. Seaplane. I'm up in Maine, flying and doing seaplane work. Before you land, you want to look at this situation. We learn to read the water, see where the wind's blowing. We can land into the wind pretty much anywhere on the water, and you're taking into the environment. But a lot of people don't fly over anymore and even look at the windsock anymore. They're landing here, I'm just going to land there. I don't even know where the wind's coming from. And if you don't know where the wind's coming from, how do you already plan for what that wind's going to do to you? They're just like, whatever it is, I'll handle it. You have so much information available, plan for it. But in seaplanes, when you take a look-see, you'll do an overfly, make sure there's no obstructions or anything in the water that you're going to hit. Because when you're down low on the water landing, you're not going to see it coming. So we fly over, we take a look at the environment, we look at the wind, get a feel for it, come around, and then we do it. Let's see. Let me see which one. This right here.
All right, hey, Ethan here, back for a second, just giving you guys a quick update, interrupt the wings presentation. So right now we got Chris Lyon up in November 41 Juliet Alpha coming on final for his first attempt at the spot landing contest. I will report back with the scores as soon as I have them. All right, back to the wings presentation.
So if winds are blowing one way, it's blowing across flat surfaces. Might be a little breezy, but it's it's pretty good. But on the, may not be able to see too much of it, on the left side, you've got mountains. And when you're flying over, it's like, they don't look that bad. But if the wind's blowing off the ocean, again, it's swirling around the mountains, and right behind the mountain where that wind's blowing, here's the airport. So now you come into land, and like, I say, how do you know this? Well, the wind's coming from there, and there's this big mountain right there, and it's like, look what the wind's doing to the terrain. This is back to another terrain slide. But this is when you're actually, you're still coming back. Down. But anyway, that was the aerial shot of what it looks like with the airport and the flat terrain and the mountains go up on the side. When you're down in the harbor, that's the mountain that's down low. You're like, reflected by that mountain. It could go around it, it could swirl over it, and when it comes down the other side of that mountain, it could cause more of a downdraft, and you come into land, what's the wind doing that day? You know, today, I came here yesterday, it was great, but now today, it's coming around the mountain. And so, taking that information, it's free information. The mountain didn't move. And this one, let's see. Oh, McGuire. That's McGuire Runway 6. And they have a nice big, heavy plane coming in on final approach. It could be any airport that has big stuff coming in. It could even be McGuire if you're doing practice approaches over there. If you get something ahead of you, what can destabilize your approach? The wake turbulence. And I don't know if you've ever been, how many people have hit wake turbulence for something big? It gets your attention. But if you look for it and you plan for it, you say, can you vector me around and give me another 5 minutes or something and bring me back in again, and I'll come. That's the back end of a wheel pant on another 182. And if you look at that, that's just a nice picture, wheel pant looking down at the road. But I don't know if you can see it. I might try to reach over and point it out. In there, you don't see it, but when I go to that one, that's zoomed down to that road a little more. Bear with me. That is an airplane. Right down there by the road. I'm at 2,000 feet getting a wrecked wire, and that's an airplane. What's an airplane doing down there around 200-300 feet? I look over, I'm like, traffic, 1,700 feet below me. I'm at 2,000. What the? And that's how I found him. I saw him on the ADSB. Somebody down there flying down, maybe saying hi to his girlfriend. Don't know, but if he loses an engine there, what's his stabilized approach going to be? It's going to be in the neighborhood. We're going to get bad press, all because of something silly. There's no reason to be down that low, but that's what I was looking on the ADSB. I'm like, is it real? And I look, I'm like, yeah, he's down there by the road, buzzing down around the road. I called McGuire up, and they said we don't even have him on a radar target because he's too low. So, silly. It's taking too much chance. Yeah, let's see this one. Bear with me a minute. Bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to see if I can open the video. This video may not have got captured into the PowerPoint and transferred on here, but this was a Cherokee that I saw coming in one day. I was sitting at the airport, and it was a perfect example. Sorry, you can't see it, but a perfect example of not correcting for crosswind. People don't know how to do crosswinds, at least a lot of them. A Cherokee comes in, and they like to crab. And everybody does the crab method until they have to kick it around. This particular one didn't kick it around. They landed sideways. It went up, it went boom, it went boom. You hear the engine go, uh-oh. and it smacks down, and literally, I'm like,
All right, just a quick interruption for an update on the spot landing contest. So Dave Williamson's final scores came in. First round was 75-0-25. The second round he just did was 50-50-75, which brings him up to 175 for the second round. And Chris Lyon, who just landed in also 41JA, scores were 75, 50, and 50. So he's actually currently tied with Dave Williamson from his last run. All right, back to the FAA presentation.
flare, but they don't put the side slip in, and now they balloon a little bit and they start moving. And then they touch down while they're moving sideways. So another thing that's really bad is not being good with crosswinds. If you're not good with crosswinds, get with somebody who is good with them. Because they're a thing of beauty when you can come down, winds from, say, from the left, you touch that left tire main down, and let the right main down, and that just ease that nose down and keep your control inputs going in. You're like, that was beautiful. You know, you go home feeling good. That person in that video that I couldn't bring up, it's like when you look at what did they go home? They're like, oh yeah, that wasn't a good one, and they don't learn anything. Why didn't they learn? Well, you know, I know the person, and I'm like, you know, so crosswinds get people. And what do we get when we have when we get closer to fall and winter? What's coming? Summertime is we get thunderstorm accidents, weather-related accidents. Wintertime we get icing, stuff starts to pick up. But in the wintertime, the winds start to pick up. Flying W almost every day has a crosswind. So, and that's one of the things to keep in mind is if you're not proficient and you haven't had that problem in a while, get some proficiency, because landing sideways, it's just hard on the plane. If it doesn't break today, maybe it'll break tomorrow because of what you did yesterday. Just don't blow it off. Get proficient with it and be comfortable with it. I think this next one is one that was in the program that is embedded. Well, there's a landing that's not going so well. Porpoising. It goes until the nose gear says, I've had enough. But it comes down, and if you don't do the landing flare right, or you get an oscillation, it's easy to you'll get on the reverse side of the oscillation. As that nose comes down and it starts to bounce up, you're like, by the time you start to push forward, it's already kind of heading down, and then you go back. Every time it goes up and you're trying to push down, you're already behind. It goes up, you're trying to pull up, and you're literally just banging. And it's, get the approaches down. If you get the approaches stable, get your flare down stable, and if you can't, get with an instructor and go. Nothing hurts for proficiency. Even if you have a flight review, how many people do the wings program? If you don't know about the wings program, ask us. It's a proficiency program. I got guys, well, I'm not due for my flight review till next year. Well, your landings are kind of crap. Why don't we go out and practice, and we'll just do an activity, so you're already on your way to getting an activity for counting on a wings phase that counts as a flight review. Why fly like crap for the next year? Start fixing it now, and you can get credit for it, and you can also get an insurance discount usually. So take advantage of it. And the PAPI, what is a VASI and PAPI? I talked about that already. People, it's a visual transition. It's telling you I'm going to clear obstacles. It doesn't mean you're going to make runway if the engine quits. It has its purpose. It has its reason. Make sure you know what they are. And it talks about excursion breaks down because people, after they land, the wind can blow. They can have a tire go bad, and the excursion is you leave the runway unintentionally. How many people have had flat tires when they've landed? It gets your attention. Last one I think was 2 years ago. You come down to land and everything's beautiful, and you're telling your student, "Hey, nice landing. A little more right rudder." I'm pushing on the right rudder. My plane, and you get out and the left tire went flat. It was trying to pull the plane off the runway, and but you're so used to everything working all the time. Don't let your guard down, because a flat tire adds a lot of drag and it can pull you off the runway. Same thing for the nose tire. If you have a steerable nose wheel and the nose comes down and the tire's flat, your steering is not going to be so good. A lot of times they rip the rubber right off the rim. So be prepared for anything. Oh, a deer ran out. There's a doggy on the runway or whatever. You react, and you could be leaving the runway. So be careful of excursions leaving the runway for multiple reasons, because you must, when you land, it's not over. It's not over till it's tied down and shut down and everybody's safe and the cover's back on. That's when it's safe. So after landing, it's not done. Bear with me. I'm going to get through some of this. I'm going to talk about, this is repeats. Excursion pictures. How many people remember the plane that landed in down by Atlantic City in the Bay? Yeah. For those of you that don't, if my memory serves me right, instead of landing at Atlantic City International, they aimed for Atlantic City Baderfield with shorter runway. They landed on the runway in a jet, and they didn't have enough runway for the jet, and they went off into the bay. And then they didn't shut down. It looked like a jet ski going around the bay because they hadn't shut down after they had the excursion. They ended up in the bay, and now they're out there with boats trying to chase the plane that's blowing rooster tails all over it and driving around a jet in the bay. So it's good.
YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Atlantic City Jet and Bay, or whatever you might search for. But it's important to know, where am I going? What airport? What runway? What's available for me? What's the capability of my airplane? All these things add up. This slide here, basically the top part of the picture there, you'll see people, Jersey's flat. We really don't have too much of a problem. You can come in, you can even come in somewhat shallow, as long as you can make runway is my thing. But if you get used to that shallow approach all the time, and then you go someplace up in the mountains, up in New England, up, they say like Rutland, Vermont or something, you got a mountain. You got a mountain here. But your approach is used to coming in on an angle like this. If you come in like this and somebody puts a mountain there, now you don't know how to land anymore, because that's not matching your profile. But if you are used to a little bit steeper, oh yeah, I got a mountain here, I got to come in a little bit steeper. You can come down and clear your obstacles. But what people will do is they'll come in, oh, here's the hill. I'll drop down and I'll boop again. Oh, here's the next hill, and they'll drop down. It's unstable. The second part of that, the bottom picture, is saying just plan a nice steady thing, looking right at the runway and my aim point on the runway, and have a nice stable approach path all the way down. And you unstabilize it, it's just more chance of a problem. And with mountains, what's the wind do? So it's hard enough to do it and come down just stable on a normal path, but if you interject, I got wind, every time I hit a ridge, the wind blows me up, and I'm constantly doing this, you're going to have a hard day landing at some of the mountainous airports. And it talks about some of the things. Basically, a lot of people are like, yeah, no problem. It's talking about, I got this, right? How many times you fly with somebody like, yeah, I don't care if it's, blowing across, the windsock just blew off the pole, and, I got this, And it's like that. It's one of the things in the instruction they talk about machoism. It's a negative behavior. And everybody's like, I got this. I can land this thing anywhere, right? I can even land it before I even took off. I can land it so short, and you'll see them blow all 3 tires trying to prove it. It's like, I mean, I got this. No, I'm being careful and trying to do it right. It talks about excess airspeed. Again, more stuff I've already talked about. Come on. Bear with me. If you don't know about advisory circulars, there's all wealth of information out on the FAA's website. There's a couple of them, 9179A, mitigating risks, the 61-98D. You can go out to the FAA, say FAA.gov, and just look for advisory circulars, and some of the menus drop down. There's a wealth of information out there that somebody's already done something silly, and they give you guidance on how not to do something silly. It's a lot of advisory circulars out there. And what we discussed, let's just review. If you're a pilot and you're not on FAAsafety.gov, go to FAAsafety.gov and sign up, because you'll find out about more seminars. You'll get notices coming out. You'll get information on TFR information, all kinds of stuff going your way. If you don't know about it, go out and check out FAAsafety.gov. And if you don't know about the WINGS program, like I say, we can answer that too, any of us here. It's a proficiency program, and more than time I'm going to do right here to explain it. And anybody who's got 50 years of safe flying, if you haven't heard about it, there's the Wright Brothers Award, or same thing for maintenance technicians. They have 50 years of safe flying, and you can get a certificate saying, I've been good, and I've been consistent for 50 years, and I'm always safe. What's that? Master Pilot Award, yeah. And is that it? GAA steering. And any questions? Or have I talked your ears off completely? My brother's worse. He makes your ears bleed. So that's it. I'll defer to my colleagues here. Thank you.
It's a rough act when you follow the FAA and you have to behave yourself, so there's no FAA jokes today. My name is Michael Castagna. I am with the Civil Air Patrol. I'm the Director of Aerospace Education here in New Jersey. I'm also on national staff on the National Outreach Program. So I wear a couple hats, but I was asked to come and talk to you folks about our program. We are older than the Air Force. Civil Air Patrol was started here in New Jersey December 1st, 1941, before the Japanese struck at Pearl Harbor. And it was a fellow by the name of Gil Rob Wilson. You may have heard of him. He had something to do with AOPA, at least they tell me that. Anyhow, they started the program, and it was a 90-day experiment. The volunteer pilots were entirely a volunteer organization. We are associated with the Air Force, but we're not the Air Force. So we were out looking for German submarines, looking for sailors that were torpedoed in the water, a lot of humanitarian stuff. We were training pilots, we were training mechanics. It was a wonderful program, and in 1947, it was turned into a public law. We were the official auxiliary of the United States Air Force. We're the fourth component of the United States Air Force, and we do a lot. The last couple weeks, you've been following the weather patterns, as the folks from the FAA were talking about. We've been very busy. I flew over the section of Mullica Hill. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There would be a home that was just completely wiped out, and homes on either side were fine. I've been up over Middlesex County, up Manville, Central Jersey Regional Airport. One day it was an island. The only way into that airport was by aircraft. We flew up over Pequannock and the Wayne area, Mountain View, right by Caldwell Airport. That was all underwater. Hurricane Sandy, you remember that. We took 58,000 photographs of the shore. I couldn't believe when I saw the new entrance over in Manilokan coming in from the ocean. So there's a lot of opportunity. There are 3 missions of the Civil Air Patrol. I represent aerospace education. What we're doing right now, we've partnered with the AOPA. There is a 4-year high school aviation program. So if you have friends on Board of Education, superintendents, administrators, you might want to promote this. It's free. The AOPA folks supply the training, they supply the materials, the lesson plans. You don't have to be a pilot in order to teach it. We now have 12 schools here in New Jersey that are affiliated with the AOPA program, and the one that I'm most familiar with is the Atlantic County Institute of Technology. They had a high school aviation program before AOPA. Their students partnered with the Atlantic Cape Community College. So these high school students did 4 years of aviation science, took their classes at the community college. They graduated with an associate's degree in aviation science in addition to their high school diploma. The relationship with Atlantic Cape, the money ran out, the funding ran out, so now they're working with Embry-Riddle. Embry-Riddle is offering 18 credits, but it's still a great deal. So we're trying to get kids up into the air. With Civil Air Patrol, the young pilots that might be here, if you have youngsters that you're working with, we take them from 12 to 21. We offer what we call orientation flights, so the youngsters get 5 rides in our aircraft, our Cessna 172s. They have an opportunity to actually manipulate the controls once we get them up in the air. I'm also a glider pilot, so I was chuckling listening to the presentation. A lot of what he says doesn't apply to me. There's no go-arounds in gliders. All right, you're coming down, and that's just about it. And I have PIO stories, and I learned about accelerated stalls the hard way, but it's a lesson that's stuck for 45 years. So anyhow, we have glider orientation flights, we have powered flights, we have a powered academy. And one of our national academies is right here at Ocean County Airport. My partner Amy Mizey and I were the directors. We soloed 6 youngsters this summer, which is really great, out of 13. One of the youngsters came from Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany. His parents were active duty, and he happened to end up at our academy. The youngsters also have an opportunity to have a program. It's called Cadet Invest. Like many of the organizations, the EAA and AOPA.
Landing contest. You got a shot there, 41JA, this time piloted by Gene Baker. He's going to head up in a second, and then over, if you want to pan to the left, Kyle, and get the other plane over there. That's 40JA, and that's piloted by Alex Justo. So both those planes are just going to get into the air in a second. Not that one, the other one, Kyle. Not the one at the runway, the one over there. They're going to get in the air in a second, and we'll give you updates on the score as they land. Hopefully we'll get you some slow motion replays of the actual landing zone. All right, back over to the FAA Wing Seminar.
And now let me talk about the pilots, because what we're really looking for, number one, we're not a flying club. If you're saying, wow, this is a chance for us to get some free flying. No, it's not really free flying. It's volunteer service. We spend a lot of time up in the air. We used to do a lot of ELT searches, but when we went to the new system on the ELT, the new frequencies, we don't get much of the 121.5. But boy, we're getting a lot of EPIRBs. We've chased boats. We had an elderly woman, and I consider myself an old kind of guy. She made me look like a youngster. She lived in Forked River. Our air crew found the location down at Forked River, and they prosecuted the signal. They were probably within 100 yards. I went down on the ground team. We went up and down the streets and been to Forked River. You know, the communities have the canals on both sides. So we kind of went in several different streets to make sure there were no reflections. There were 3 homes with 3 boats in the driveway. It had to be one. I had a Yagi antenna, and I was sort of pointing it, and this old lady came out, and she goes, "Am I in trouble?" And I said, "Well, what kind of trouble, ma'am?" She says, "Well, I've watched you Air Force people, and you have that strange thing." So I said, "Did you throw anything away lately?" She says, "Well, my husband had passed away, and I cleaned out the garage with this boat." I said, "Was it orange? Did it have an antenna?" She says, "Oh, yes, but it doesn't work. It said replace the battery 1996. This was 2 years ago. The battery was just fine. And it was her EPIRB. Luckily, it was a Sunday when we discovered it. Can you imagine if that thing went to a landfill? By the way, I did a search at the, where are we now? The recycling plant, for those of you that are locals, someone threw an EPIRB away. It was still going. One, there were rats over there the size of my dog, and I have a big dog on that, so it wasn't a fun thing, but we did find it. Anyhow, for the pilots, you have an opportunity. We want you to be part of the squadron. We want you to give back, and using your training as a pilot to be mentors with the young men and women that are in our program is great. What we can offer you in that, the first step is once you pass all of the silly paperwork, come on, we're still kind of military, but we're not military. You need to do level this, and you need to take this test, and you need to get this flight test. We do BFRs in Civil Air Patrol. It's called a Form 5, and every year you go back and you show your proficiency to a pilot. So you become a mission transport pilot first.
There we got 41 Juliet Alpha lining up. Getting ready to roll out there with Gene Baker piloting. Let's see how he does. There's a great shot of them in the cockpit, but that's actually not 41JA. That is 40, which is behind us still doing its run-up. But that's inside cockpit view of 40 Juliet Alpha. And 41 Juliet Alpha is getting ready to take off. We'll check back in, go back to the wing seminar. We'll check back in as they come around.
We fly for the Army Corps of Engineers. We have a number of clients out there in addition to our traditional search and rescue. So it is a great win-win program. I'm a retiree, former high school teacher. I taught theater, so I'm in my element. I have a microphone, all right? Drama is part of my life, if you haven't figured that out. My neighbors, my elderly neighbors keep saying, well, you're retired and you're working for free. How does that happen? And I said, I'm supplied with a vehicle because of my position. I work out of McGuire. I have a credit card, so I don't pay for gas. That's pretty cool. I get to play with some really neat toys. Any Part 107 folk in here? So Civil Air Patrol does the drones, this SUAS program, with our cadets under aerospace education. We also have another program. You have to use your imagination why we would have this other program, but we get to fly some pretty cool missions with the toys that we have. Again, the same kind of thing, search and rescue. With the algorithms that they have, we can look at a bunch of debris and actually estimate how much damage was done. We can drop things, and it's okay, Mr. FAA, because we make sure that we give permission to drop things off our drones, but emergency a telephone or a radio for people so they can communicate. There's really good stuff happening. The magic website, one big word, gocivilairpatrol.com. And when you go to our website, gocivilairpatrol.com, what you'll see is a sub-menu that says Join. And since I assume most of you are pilots up here, click the pilot link and it will start taking you places. But I want you to take a look at our emergency service link that's in there. It describes all of the different things that we do in addition to what's in the air, what's happening on the ground. We do shelter management. We work with the Red Cross. We're probably the best kept military secret. And when a military police officer...
All right, there we have Alex rolling out to the threshold to take off. And we got Gene still in the pattern somewhere. Looks like he's on downwind out there. So here goes Alex Justo. There's a shot inside his cockpit live. Taking off. Nice. All right, we'll be back as Gene comes around on final.
The cadets follow military customs and courtesies. If there were cadets here, they would be addressing me as sir, just by virtue that I'm a senior member, but I'm also a high-ranking officer in CAP. So any questions? I brought propaganda with me. I have all kinds of flyers. I have great stories, and I do want to share one thing. I made in a flight simulator, I made it a simulated approach into runway 4, left or right, I don't remember, in a 747-300. Now, if you remember, in a glider, if you're a glider pilot, your primary instrument's a hunk of yarn scotch tape onto the canopy. And now I have these 9 million instruments in front of me. I had no idea what I was looking at. And the simulator guy, a friend of mine, who was able to get me in, he said, just fly the 6-pack. And we're making our approach, we're coming up the turnpike, and all of a sudden here, whoop, whoop, pull up, whoop, whoop, pull up. And then it went to whoop, whoop, pull up, terrain, whoop, whoop, pull up, terrain, and then poof, the screen went blank. And I said, what happened? He said, you took out the oil refineries. So thank you very much. I think there's still another person that's going to speak. And again, I'll be here to answer any questions, and thank you very much.
All right, here we got, if you want to take a shot of that, we got Gene Baker approaching on final. Hopefully we can see if we can get a replay of where he touches down, hopefully within those cones. Here he comes. Zoom in a little, Kyle, if you can. There we go, beautiful. Let's see where he hits. Ooh, that was pretty good. Pretty good. And he's going back around.
And so many years later of gray hair, and now standing in front of you and giving back to younger pilot students all of what we all know. We all know. So it's so nice to be here. But part of the instructor talk, just a real quickie, and you've both been sitting here for quite a bit of time so far, so it won't be long. There's an elaboration of what the FAA said about, you called it oscillation. I call it the wheelbarrow landing. What is a wheelbarrow? All right, that thing that has one wheel in the front, right, and you hold it with 2 hands. So the wheelbarrow landing. You can actually look on YouTube, there's a video and some documentation on Southwest Airlines landing at LaGuardia a number of years ago, where he did a wheelbarrow landing and actually broke the nose wheel off and skid it down the runway. So it is a very serious thing. So what happens with the wheelbarrow landing? Anybody want to entertain a thought? Raise your hand. That what causes a wheelbarrow landing? No? No hands? Nobody has any idea what it is. Wow, too fast. Ooh, you like that answer? Okay. I'm going to elaborate that answer. Yes, it's there. Yet another? Ground effect. Okay. So we'll elaborate on that also. Great. So, wheelbarrow land.
All right, here comes Alex on short final. And 4-0. There's a shot of him inside the cockpit right now. Let's see how he does. And hopefully we have a slow-mo shot from the side this time. Let's see how it works out. Oh. Oh, that's a tough one to call from this angle. It looks like one wheel maybe inside the box and one out. Let's see if we can get a slow-mo on that.
So what causes that? So our esteemed member and senior of the Jersey Aero Club, Dave Williamson, back there. Raise your hand, Dave, so everybody knows who he is. Yeah, he's definitely the man.
Go back to the wings presentation for a second as we get that slow-mo ready.
And thank you, Dave, for all your commitment to the club. And I appreciate that. Everybody does. The point is that he said that it's an excess airspeed. So if you're at an excess airspeed on your approach, you know, you think you're going to be nose up and nose down. You guys in the FAA, right? Right. Well, show of hands. Excess airspeed be nose up. Excess airspeed.
All right, let's take a look at that slow-mo from Alex's landing.
Not raise your hand no matter what
Oh,
I
that's
say.
this camera, but okay.
It's
all right. Oh, they might have both touched down within the box. We'll see at the score when it comes in. All right, back to the wings presentation. Or not wings, back to Mark Mizrahi.
And that might be that with a flat landing. A flat landing might be that you don't have an attitude of a pitch up. To land in the main gear, you're a little bit fast, and you're landing relatively flat. And you land on all three wheels at one time. And it produces a little bit of a bounce. So what happens is that, you know, short of the runway end coming into view, you tend to push the nose down. Sound familiar for some of us? I think we've all done that. Push the nose down, you know, and then you bounce off that, right? So it's not just that you came in fast only, but you might have landed flat and you know, bounced off the runway, pushed it down. So I always like to teach as part of the job of being the chief flight instructor. By the way, that job entails.
All right, here comes Gene Baker for his second attempt. Coming in on a short final. Oh, he went a little far there, outside the box. Outside the box there. All right, let's see if we got a replay of that.
That needs to be nailed.
Let me know when I'm unmuted.
Sometimes, you know, you're chasing the runway environment, meaning the shorter or the longer the runway is how you're adjusting your angle of descent into the runway and final, and your airspeed is oscillating up and down, which is what the FAA brought to the table earlier. So that needs to be mitigated by always watching your speed on final approach. I'm not talking about any severe winds or any of those corrections, but just normally that needs to be nailed down. And if you watch the YouTubes of you know, jet fighters landing on an aircraft carrier, there's tons of them. And what are they always yelling at the pilot from the aircraft carrier? You know, power, power, or reduce power, power, reduce power, power.
All right, here comes Alex again for his second attempt. Ooh, that looked pretty good. That looked pretty good. We'll have to go to the score. We got a replay of that. Let's see if we can take a look at the replay of that one. No? All right. Don't have a replay of that. So he'll go around and do one more, and we'll get back in here. All right, back to Mark Mizrahi.
People that do a stabilized approach on an ILS, all of that, have that all set, and they're adjusting the power to capture the slope, come back, you know, as the glide slope comes oscillating up and down, they're adjusting with power. So power configuration is a very, very important thing. So lastly, I would like to tell you about the power configuration is that if anybody has flown with me, that I'm very much power oriented. What produces the 80?
Let's go look at that replay of Alex's last landing. All right, there's Alex's last landing. Oh, ooh, that's a tough one again to call from this angle. Hopefully we can get that camera up closer to the line. And I'll take a look at the scores, and I'll report back in a little bit. All right, back to Mark.
Nose. Watch it slow to 90 knots, and that's your configuration. Base might be 1800 RPM. This is usually a number for 172 to produce 80 knots. And then final segment, it might be 1200 RPM produced. So you fly the numbers, and that helps stabilize. So it's always that what is it you need to do, and how do you get there is good configuration. And I actually build a little bit of an index card. I stick it in the pilot's clipboard, and look at the card. What's your power? What power are you setting for your configuration at that moment or segment of your landing? So that hopefully might be helpful for a lot of you guys. So thank you for your being here, and enjoy the rest of the show. Before you go, a couple of advertisements. T-shirts, right? There's a T-shirt here. I don't know if you saw it because they just opened the box a little bit late. And there's a T-shirt. They are selling this for a small donation on the front there. You go back to the front. These are some sponsors. I am one of the sponsors as well with my website called flysimulators.com. This gentleman next to me was one of the Czech pilots that certified a simulator with 2 other Czech pilots at the time. So we have a certified simulator at...
All right, we got Gene Baker coming back around again. Here we go. Let's see how he does. Oh, looks a little high, looks a little high. Yeah, he went past a little bit there. That's going to hurt his score a bit. All right, back over to Mark.
To hold it at, we're going to draw a ticket from that. I'm going to do a couple of tickets, actually. We're going to give out 3 different chances for 1 hour of free.
All right, let's take a look at a replay of that shot there.
The rest of the show,
We have it on the side camera this time, thankfully, so we can get a better idea. Oh, yeah, he went right past him that time. All right. This is his 3rd attempt, I believe. See if we have that cockpit shot. Is that up too? All right, let's see. Here comes Alex. Gave it a little bit extra throttle boost there. Oh, looks like he might be going a little long again. Oh, looks like it's a little long. I wonder if we got a replay on that side shot. All right, we'll take a look at the replay of that same shot then. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, yeah, definitely past the cones, but let's see what line he hit. All right, I'll check back in with the scores in just a second as both those gentlemen taxi back over here to the parking area. Check back in a moment.
Was that yours? Oh, that's good. Yeah. Come out of the new idea. There goes another. joystick. Yeah. All right, pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
Today, you're on tentatively on my schedule, I think,
For Saturday.
something like that.
Yeah.
But it's got a question mark, so if you see if I need it.
Okay.
It's there. I need to run your papers.
All right, we're going to take a little break right now as the scores roll in for Gene and Alex's runs. We're going to go ahead and play a copy of the JAC Club promo, and we'll be back right after that report with the scores.
I'll talk to people who don't want to wipe to the library. Sometimes the other time no, it's not.
Also near some of the most challenging airspace in America. My name is Elias Willenberg.
My name is Nathan Montanez. I have been a member of the Jersey Aero Club for 3 years.
The JAC is very good for a wide variety of pilots, basic student pilots, all the way up to corporate pilots and also airline pilots, whether they're active or retired.
I think this club is good for anyone, either people that are looking to become a pilot or people that are already pilots or people that were pilots in a previous life and now want to get refreshed and going again. I think it's a great opportunity to get back in the air or get in the air for the first time and meet a lot of wonderful people.
The club is good for anyone from the ages of 16 to 93. The 93-year-old man, George Wheeler, who was a member for many years, was one of my instructors, and he flew right till he was 93 years old.
Robert McHugh. I joined the club recently as a student pilot, had the opportunity and the introduction by one of the CFIs here in the club to bring me on. I've had excellent instruction and a really warm welcoming by club members.
My name is Cheryl Papa, and I am an ATP, CFII, MEII. I've been in the club for 37 years.
New Jersey Aero Club has a great history of flight in the U.S. We're the #1 oldest flight club in New Jersey and the 3rd oldest in the nation.
We have pilots from North Jersey, South Jersey, far west, so We are centrally located, and it's a great place to fly.
There's all sorts of people in the club. I'm a new pilot. There's a ton of experienced pilots. There are people who have been in the club for 20 years. There are people who have been in the club for a handful of months.
Everything from airline pilots to student pilots and everything in between. It's just a great group of people that all have a love of aviation.
Homemakers to auto mechanics to professionals, medical, CEOs, and airline pilots as well. They come from all walks of life and different aviation backgrounds.
You get to mix and mingle with a whole bunch of different kinds of pilots, anywhere from students all the way to ATP-rated pilots working for airlines and charter operations.
One of my favorite things to do is just grab the kids and take off and fly along the coastline, coming down as the sun's just about ready to set. It's just absolutely beautiful being up there and just seeing everything from a new perspective. It's one of my favorite things in life, and getting the opportunity to do that whenever I want is just invaluable.
Favorite part about being in the Jersey Aero Club is the camaraderie, being around like-minded people, taking it professionally, taking it serious, but at the same time we also get to have a lot of fun and just get that joy and excitement of being little kids again. My name is Guillermo Arce, and I've been with the Jersey Aero Club for about 2.5 years.
My favorite part of the club is the just incredible people that I've met through the club. Made very good friends through the club, and there's a camaraderie and there's real satisfaction in seeing people move up in ratings. Hi, I'm Jeff Dubois. I'm president of Jersey Aero Club. I originally joined in 1990.
My name is Jim Bemis, and I've been in the Jersey Aero Club close on to 40 years. I used to own my own plane, and I found it much more economical to fly with the club equipment. I can fly in the club equipment about 40 hours a year, what it cost me to park my plane.
There's nothing like seeing somebody who starts out here as trying to get a private pilot license and end up flying jet aircraft within a couple of years.
You are a fractional owner of 5 aircraft without the heavy expenses of hangar, maintenance, buying the aircraft. It's shared amongst 125 members.
The club brings a lot of value both financially, because owning your own plane is very expensive, maintenance is very expensive, and being in a club like this allows you to fly amazing aircraft that are incredibly well maintained for a very great value, but also the value of the community in the club. There's so many amazing members in this club with so many amazing backgrounds, and it's just a great group to be a part of.
It's a great value to be in this club. The community around you, everybody else is a bunch of pilots, and you also get the good flight time with good quality aircraft.
The diversity of all the members, of camaraderie, and the ability to choose an airplane of your choosing for that particular flight. The club is really good for anybody who is an aviation enthusiast, whether you're a student pilot, whether you're a professional pilot. If you love to fly, this club's for you.
You can meet all kinds of people with all kinds of experiences. So this club is very much designed for a very wide range of pilots.
Everybody is here for you, and you're there for everybody else, and everybody wants for better pilots. My name is Steven Spiker. I have been a member for almost 3 years now, and I am a CFI working on my CFAA.
This is an outstanding club to join if you want more than just cheap hourly rates, and you want a club atmosphere, and you want to make friends with people that are both aviation professionals and people who love to fly that aren't necessarily going to make a career out of it.
If you like high wings, we have a Cessna 172. If you like low wings, we have 2 Piper aircrafts. If you like to go fast, we have a Mooney 20J. And if you want to bring the family along, we have a Saratoga 6-seater.
I love the Saratoga because it can carry up to 1,000 pounds of people, and with the fuel to the tabs. I love the Mooney for its complex characteristics, the Saratoga for its high performance, and the Cessna with the high wing for taking photographs. But all planes have their own intrinsic values, and you can find one that you love and stay current in at least 3 of them, and you have a good time.
But the Piper Warriors and the Archer is an excellent instrument platform. And I think that's where the club really excels.
I take my family along with me. I have 3 kids and my wife, and we go in the Saratoga, which is a great 6th-place Piper. We just went up to the Finger Lakes. It's just having that opportunity to be able to take your family places is amazing. It's a wonderful, wonderful family time and a wonderful experience.
My favorite is our Cessna Skyhawk. In the early days of my flying and up until about 20 years ago, almost all my flying was in Skyhawks.
Some of the planes are pretty awesome. I mean, the Cessna with the synthetic vision, and the Mooney with the coupled autopilot that'll fly the plane right to the runway. It's pretty awesome for a single engine aircraft to be that level of sophistication.
My favorite plane has to be 41 Juliet Alpha, the one actually right behind us. And that is because the first plane that I flew after I got my private pilot's license, and it's just very comfortable.
If I want to go up and bore a hole in the sky, the Warrior's good. If I want to go a little faster, the Archer's good. If I need to go a distance, the Mooney's good. If I got a lot of people going, then the 6 is a great deal.
There's no better feeling than going fast. And in our Mooney 20J, you're going to achieve that. Once the wheels come up, you can coast down, you can fly down a coast at 150 knots, and you're not going to get that experience in a typical C-152.
I think the ability to take an airplane for an extended period of time without having a 3 or 4 hour a day minimum hanging over your head is something unique to Jersey Aero Club that an FBO can't offer.
The instructors in the Jersey Aero Club are some of the nicest people you're ever going to want to meet. And the best thing about it is there's a great variety of instructors. You can find an instructor that's a match for almost anybody.
There is an amazing range of instructors in the club for all different types of people. Just a great bunch of men and women who keep this club going and keep the members current.
As a student pilot, I've had the opportunity to train under a multitude of instructors.
The instructors are excellent, and a lot of them are former airline pilots. You know, from the beginning instructors to the CFI2s for the instrument work. You know, it's a great club with many, you know, well-trained instructors.
The instructors in the club are excellent. They're always willing to help. They're willing to communicate with you anytime that they're free. Christopher Lyon, I am a private pilot.
Presently, we have over 20 instructors in the club. So when you do join, there will be no problem finding an instructor.
These instructors can help you achieve your aviation dreams of earning your private pilot, of becoming an instrument pilot, or earning your commercial, or even becoming an instructor yourself.
My favorite part of being in the club is flying the very well-maintained airplanes and the camaraderie, the other pilots, the experience levels of pilots. You can always learn from someone in the club. That's the beauty of flying, is you're always learning. You never stop learning. It's always different.
Club safety is a primary consideration here.
We have a number of engineers and mechanics that we work with that address every issue on time and according to our specific needs.
We also have trustees assigned to each aircraft, which are responsible to ensure that all the required maintenance checks are performed, which we do online in a real-time fashion so that members never have any questions about what the condition of the aircraft are.
The club airplanes, unlike if you own one by yourself, are extremely well maintained, and it's a great way to fly with confidence, knowing that the planes are well maintained. My name's Louis DiCicchio III, been a member for over 11 years.
I've enjoyed all these years of flying with many different kinds of members with advanced ratings, instructor members, and members like myself who are still basically private pilots.
I think organizationally, the club is probably one of the best structured clubs in the area. Not only do we have a huge membership, which means a lot of people that participate in a ton of activities, and so you have a very big social aspect. You also have a lot of people that care about the club, and everyone just wants to be able to fly. which means everyone has the same interests, everyone has the same goal.
The best part about aviation is sharing it. So I take any opportunity to fly with whoever will come with me, whether it's fellow pilots, friends, family. We will pick a destination and we will pick a plane and we'll be on our way.
We have a really great group of now friends and activity folks. We've done a number of trips down to Tennessee. We've gone to Nashville, Florida for Sun and Fun. Recently we went down to Georgia and picked up a puppy for my kids. Block Island, Nantucket, all of these great places that are a little bit too far to drive with 3 kids in the back seat.
We're always looking for new members who are interested in learning to fly. Having student pilots in the club is their enthusiasm is infectious.
One of my favorite trips with the Jersey Aero Club was going down to Millville. It's about a hour flight, nice and easy, short, and it was memorable to me because it was outdoor motorsports. I think the place is called New Jersey Motorsports Park, and a bunch of us got together and we got to race around, go-karts and some pretty high-speed chases, and bump each other and just act like kids again.
One of the most amazing things of being a pilot and being a pilot with the Jersey Aero Club is the ability to fly down the Hudson Corridor. It is such a privilege and a benefit to be able to fly up the Hudson, across Central Park, down the East River, see Manhattan in all of its glory, whether it's daytime or nighttime, and there's no better feeling than that.
It's also fun just to hang around, go to the beach, run along the beach line, and get some insane views.
If you'd like to apply to the Jersey Aero Club, you email join@jerseyaeroclub.org, and I will send you the bylaws, the flying rules, and also an application to fill out. I will answer all the questions you could possibly have about flying with the Jersey Aero Club.
All right, we're live here at Lakewood Airport in the middle of the spot landing contest. So far we had 5 people go. Dave Williamson, 175 was his high score. Chris Lyon, 175 as well. And Alex Justo was actually a little bit above them. He got 225. He got 100 on his first, 75 in the second, and 50 on the third landing. And then Gene Baker, 50, 0, and 0, unfortunately, with a total score of 50. So we got some more pilots coming up in a little bit. Right now they're getting the food going over there in the tent. They got the hay rides going for the kid here. Let me get you a shot. Let me get you guys a shot of the hay ride here. It's pretty fun. I think my kids might actually be on it. Let's see, here we go. We got hay rides going for the kids. So if you're at a Lakewood Airport or in the Lakewood area, come on down, hop on the tractor, get a ride. There is Julius driving the tractor. All right. People getting tours of the planes over here, taking a look in the cockpits. All different people from the community are out here, friends of members and members. We have the static aircraft displays going on. We got food cooking, and the spot landing contest is ongoing. All right, I'll be back in a little bit once we get the second round of spot landing contest going. See you in a bit. Through the hey, looks like we're live there. All right. Hey, guys, welcome back to Lakewood Airport Picnic 2021. I'm joined by Phil Zollner here. Phil, what's your title in the club? I mean, I know you have many of them. You have many different jobs, but what's your current title?
The resident antique, I guess. I've been around for a long time.
When did you join the club?
1959.
Wow, that is a long time.
That was my third year of flying, so I've been flying almost 64 years.
I got to ask, how many hours do you have?
Not that many. Just shy of 1,600 hours.
That's a lot.
All of it just recreational. All of it just for fun.
Well, so those are all fun hours. Those are real earned hours, though. When you fly the big jets, fly-by-wire stuff, all that, that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
That's the fun hours. So we got Guillermo is doing the startup back here behind us. He's going to be the next pilot doing the spot landing contest. Let's see if we can take a shot of the drone that's in the cockpit with Guillermo. We'll bring it up on the television over here, if hopefully they have it. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. So his passenger is actually holding the drone in his hands. So it's going to be a little bit, I can't talk to him and tell him what to do. So whatever he has is what we get. But, so Phil, tell me so you just got here today, right? Have you seen any of the activities going on yet?
Not too much. Been here about 20 minutes.
Okay. I saw the kids in the hayride before. My kids are big fans of that. They have a whole arts and crafts tables for the kids. They're very excited about that, too. My wife and my 3 kids are here, so it should be a pretty good day.
I'm very excited about the fact that we have so much expanded activity this year.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really expanded beautifully.
Yep.
For whole families. Yeah.
Yep. And this morning they had the Wings program with the FAA in here doing a workshop, which was great. We live broadcasted that.
Yep.
And they also did, Mark Mizrahi did a little piece and spoke for a little bit too. Wasn't able to hear what he was talking about, but I saw him on camera, so I know that he did. So far, we went over the scores this morning. Alex Justo has 225. So he's the leader of the spot landing contest so far today. So we had Gene Baker win, Alex Justo win. Who else? Chris Lyon and Dave Williamson. Dave, Chris, and both tied at 175.
Okay.
And what's it called? And Gene didn't do so well. Gene, I think, came in at 50. I think he missed the second 2, and he got 50 on the first one. So I talked to him after the flight, and he said he was having a little bit of a rough time out there, so he might go up again.
Yeah, the wind is picking up nicely now.
Yeah, we got the helicopter. Looks like the helicopter's actually taking off right next to 41JA. That should be an interesting liftoff there. So tell me about the picnics of the past. What have they done here? This is only my second one, so I don't even know what they're all about.
Picnics go way back. I remember well picnics at Monmouth Executive Airport when we were back there in the before 9/11.
Yeah.
So the contests and the picnics go way back to the 1980s.
Oh wow.
And I've been in many of those contests, not all of them, but many of them. So I've had lots of pleasant memories of being able to attend these events annually and to enjoy them. But I'm sure this is going to be the biggest one of all, this one right here, definitely.
The broadcast is definitely going to cover it really well,
with all this new technology.
Did you ever do the spot landing contest yourself? Did you participate in them? Have you ever won any?
Oh, yes, of course, yes. I would say I've been in the contest about 15 or between 15 and 20 times.
Oh, wow, okay.
And there's a rumor going around, I don't know how it started, that, Phil's the one you got to beat.
Oh, really?
He's the one you got to beat. Well, 2 and 3 years ago, I came in first.
Nice. What was your score?
I was tied for first.
Yeah.
Last year I didn't do well at all, but still everybody says he's the one to beat, and I don't know where the idea came from. But yes, I've been in many of these contests.
Do you remember what your score was when you came in first? Is it always scored 300, 100 points possible?
No, not that high.
Oh, okay.
I think my highest was 225.
Okay.
225, yeah.
Here goes 41 Juliet Alpha rolling out right now.
Yeah.
That's Guillermo in the pilot seat. Let's see if a shot of the cockpit. What do we got on the drone? It might just be the instrument panel. Yeah, it's still just the instrument panel. Maybe when he starts rolling out there, he'll get a different shot, and we'll be able to see some more stuff. But
one comment about the contest. In years gone by,
trying to listen.
In years gone by, the distance between the box lines was narrower than it is now.
Really?
And we had a lot of occasions, including me, where we come up with 3 zeros.
Mm-hmm.
3 zeros, 3 zeros.
Yep.
And in some cases, the highest score was about 100, 125.
Uh-huh.
But in recent years, they've made it more easily to get points.
Yeah.
And so they've expanded the boxes now, and I'm glad to see that.
Yeah.
Because
makes it a little more, a little more fun, I think.
Now more people can get some points. Yeah. How's the helicopter
Oh, we got
doing?
the helicopter taking off right behind us. Kyle, get a shot of that guy if you can. Get a shot of the... It got exceptionally windy over here all of a sudden. Now I know why. I find it fun that he waits in line when he could really just kind of go straight up if he wanted to.
Yeah, he's waiting.
He is waiting. Yeah, he's waiting his turn. I think we had a Cessna take off before the Archer here. I think he's waiting for the Cessna to get clear before he takes off.
Yep.
All right, there goes 41 Juliet Alpha is taxiing down the runway, and we got the helicopter going here, holding on to all our stuff. Well, this doesn't happen every day. I don't know, Phil. Someone should tell that guy that he doesn't qualify for the spot landing contest.
Yeah, you got the advantage.
I think that's definitely an unfair advantage, to say the least. Another plane rolling in here. It's a busy taxiway. It's one of the banner guys, I think, right? Although I don't see the cable underneath.
I don't see the cable, yeah.
So this is one of the banner towing planes. We have a lot of them that come out of Central Jersey. A lot of them that come out of Lakewood Airport. I was at Central Jersey for about 20 years, so that's my my home base for a long time. So we got a lot of banner planes that come out of here, out of Lakewood. I'm sure you've seen it, Phil. Have you seen them pick up the banners and how crazy it is?
Oh, I've seen it for
Why do
many
they
years.
dive like that? For those of you guys at home that haven't seen it, they dive down.
Why do they dive?
Crazy angle
Okay.
and then climb up. Why do they do that?
The main reason is you cannot pick up a banner from a towing aircraft from a standing start.
Okay.
You can't do it. You'll drag it on the ground for a long time.
Okay.
You'll shred it, and besides, you'll never get airspeed.
Yeah.
So the airplane has to be flying at the time of pickup. And the best way to do it is to get the support wires up on two standards, have the plane come by in the air, dive to get the tail hook to catch the banner rope, and then haul the banner in reverse up off the ground so it doesn't drag.
Oh, okay.
It's the only way to do it.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. But when they do it though, it's crazy. They dive down like at a crazy angle to pick it up. I'm surprised they can't just fly over it at a more normal angle.
There's
First
a
time I
reason-
saw it
there's a
happen, I
reason
was
for
like,
that,
oh my
too.
goodness, what's the reason for that?
And the reason for that is they need maximum airspeed at the time of hookup.
Oh, so they dive.
They've got
and
to
get
have
the
a
speed up.
maximum airspeed because as soon as that hookup is completed, that plane is being dragged back onto the ground, and it takes all of its horsepower to be able to come up and be able to pick up the banner and have enough airspeed to stay in the air.
Yeah. Yep.
So at the moment of pickup, it's got to have maximum airspeed, and
Wow.
you get that this way.
Yeah. It's
That's the
crazy.
way
I've
to
seen
do it.
the engines and some of like the bird dogs and stuff like that. They're
Yeah.
crazy. Those planes are insane.
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. I'd love to try that someday.
I would
but
love to
don't-
try that too. I don't know if they let you be a passenger, but that sounds
No,
like
I
fun.
don't think they do. No.
I don't think so. So we
No.
got Guillermo has taken off. Let's see. He's somewhere out here in the pattern. Let's see if we can spot him. Oh, there he is. So he's at mid downwind right now, coming around. Hopefully we got Keith Flores on our tech team here was working on getting the camera right next to the runway, which, Kyle, see if you can get a shot down there. We got Keith Flores all the way down where the tent is, down there, trying to get that camera working. And if we get that camera working, we'll have a nice side shot of the planes landing.
That'd be
So
nice,
then we can
yeah.
do an instant replay of it. Problem we're having this morning is this is pretty far away and it's a strong angle.
Right,
So
yeah.
it's really hard to, determine if they landed in the box or not.
Now you say there is a camera down there, right?
Yeah, there's a camera
Okay,
down. You can see
yeah.
it right there. We're shooting it with this camera. That's
Okay.
Keith Flores on our tech team. He's setting it up right now. We had
Yeah.
had some trouble because of how far away it is, and our cables on our production truck only go about 200 feet, and that's about 5 total
Right.
from there. So
Right.
it's been a bit of a challenge today technologically, but we're getting it done. But so what other events do we have coming up? I'm trying to think what we have this year. We have a great events team here.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Jersey Aero Club.
Activities Club. Yeah.
Activities Club,
Tech
man.
committee,
They've
yeah.
been Julius and Robert, and I'm an honorary member so far, but as soon as
Yeah.
I'm a full member, I'll join the committee officially. But they've been doing a great job organizing all this stuff. It's
One
been,
official event that I really enjoyed was the night at the Blue Claw Stadium for the baseball game
Yeah,
from the deck, upper deck.
that sounds.
That
I
was-
heard all about that one. I didn't make
We
it
gotta
out
do
to it.
we gotta do more of that stuff.
We
yeah,
have
definitely.
to. I want to do the. I missed the other one too, the go-kart trip. I know in the
Oh.
promo clip that we have some footage that
Yeah.
Robert took of the track down there at Millville.
That's at Millville.
Oh yeah, Millville. Yeah. And my kids want to do that really bad, so hopefully we'll plan another one of those. But I know we're talking about things this winter, doing like a trip to like a Christmas village and that kind of stuff, but
Okay.
maybe even a ski trip at one point. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I joined. This is a great club for like family activities,
Yes,
going on
yes,
trips and things
yeah.
like that. There's a lot of different
Yeah.
events that happen all the time, so very exciting.
Right.
So I'm in Monmouth Area Flying Club as well, another great club. So I've
Right.
got access to a lot of different planes here, which is
Something I would like to do is increase the participation in a traditional event in this club,
Mhm.
and that is the breakfast or lunch flight.
Yeah.
And I've been doing those for 30, 35 years.
Yep.
And I really enjoy just getting out, flying to an airport with a good restaurant,
Yep. $100
having a place
omelet.
to go, and then coming home.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, I can only afford about 3 or 4 hours. I can't afford a whole day.
Yeah.
And a breakfast flight is a wonderful way to do it.
Yeah.
And I look forward to doing those every
Yeah.
time I can.
Yeah, my kids love that too. Just going someplace, even if
Yeah.
it's something local like South Jersey Regional,
Yeah, yeah.
VAY, going over there and getting breakfast at
Oh,
a
yes,
little restaurant,
yep.
or he has a lot
Yep.
of great destinations.
My favorite one is Sky Manor.
Yep, Sky
Also
Manor's great, yep.
Millville
Mhm.
and Wildwood.
Yep.
Cape May.
Cape May. Yep. We actually flew
Great
down to
places
Ocean
to go.
City. Well, we wound up turning around and coming back. We were flying to Ocean City. But
Yes.
They have a great airport right by the beach there, so that's a great destination if you
Now,
want a little bit of a longer
Ocean
trip.
City, New Jersey?
Yeah, Maryland.
Okay,
Ocean City,
yeah,
Maryland. They have Ocean City, New Jersey. They have. It's not quite as close to the airport.
I understand the restaurant at Ocean City, New Jersey is closed. It's
Ah.
not open anymore, so.
All right, here we go. It looks like we have Guillermo coming in
Okay.
on short final now. Hopefully we're rolling on the replay, and hopefully we have that other camera up so we can do it from the side. But let's see if we can get a shot. I wonder if the drone is up for a shot in the cockpit. Okay, we're not going to have a replay of this, unfortunately. You set it up on Kyle's camera, maybe, so we have it from Kyle's. Do you have a shot of the cockpit by any chance? There we go. There he is on final. That's a great shot. Look at that. Beautiful.
Yay.
And let's see how he does here. Oh, that's pretty good. He's holding it up. He's holding it up.
Oh,
Oh, he touched. I think he hit a little early there with both
Yeah.
wheels. But it's hard to tell. I don't think we have a replay on this one, but he's going to go back around and he'll get another shot. So
Right.
each person gets 3 tries. I think you can get up to a maximum of 100 points for each try,
Per
I'm pretty
try,
sure.
yeah.
So is it each wheel? How does the scoring work, Phil? I don't remember. Is it each wheel in the box? How does that work?
The main gear has to be firmly on the ground.
Okay.
No bouncing. Disregard the nose gear.
Okay.
It means nothing. You got to get that main gear planted. And that spot is your score.
Okay, so
Wherever it is.
inside the box is what, 50 points per wheel? So it's 100 points if you get both wheels?
No.
No? How does it work? How does it work?
We will assume the main gear touches simultaneously.
Yep, okay.
And wherever they do touch, whatever box score that score is, that's what you
okay.
get.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So each of those boxes
They
that have
s-
scores on
they
the
start
ground
at 25, they go to 50,
Mhm.
75, and then there's the bullseye.
Yep, the 100,
The
yep.
100 in the center.
Yep.
And then you can get 75, 50, or 25 on the outgoing
outside.
side.
Okay, I didn't
if
realize
you've-
how that worked.
If you've
Okay.
overshot a little bit.
I haven't done this contest yet before, so I don't know how the
I've
scoring
talked
worked. I
to
just saw
people
the
who
numbers.
have had contests elsewhere. I was amazed to discover they have 1 point, a little box somewhere.
Mhm.
You either hit it or you don't.
Well, that doesn't sound like
And
much
if you
fun.
hit it, you get, I don't know what you get. You can't get points that way. No way.
That sounds too hard. Looks like we
Especially
got
under
the,
wind conditions like this.
I think this guy might just be doing some pattern work and not actually, or
No,
maybe he's
he's-
trying the spot landing contest. Let's see what he does.
Hey.
Let's see if we get a shot of him. Oh, no, he's going really far
He's
if he
floating,
is.
yeah. Too far.
He might just be out here doing some air work.
Yeah.
Because if he wasn't doing the spot landing contest, wow, he took a lot of runway up.
Yeah.
He's not a member of our club, so I can say that.
Now, right now, we just have 4-1.
Yeah, we just
in
have
the pattern.
4-1.
Yeah.
4-0 was up before. That's the one that Alex won in so far with 225.
Okay.
So somebody should probably take that plane up because it's scoring way better.
Yeah.
That's all we have up right
Yeah.
now.
I haven't been in the contest yet today, but if I do, my preference is the Cessna.
335. Yeah, that's what I would do
Yeah.
too if I did it.
Yeah.
For sure.
We'll wait and
Maybe
see.
I will later on. We'll see. It doesn't look like anyone has it out, so maybe I'll get up there and give it a shot later on.
Yeah.
Another Cherokee rolling in here. Busy day, busy day. So what else can we talk about in the club? Have you seen the new promo video that we put together?
As a matter of fact, I haven't.
Okay,
I've been
we
wondering about
just
that.
sent it out. I just sent it out last night, and we've been broadcasting it live this morning. It's only a rough
Okay.
though. We shot we shot probably an hour and a half of footage. So I edited it down to about, I don't know, 12 or 13 minutes.
Right.
So it's long, but it's pretty good. It needs some trimming and stuff, but we do we did get it ready to be able to play it today. So we're playing it over there in the tent on hopefully that one TV, and to try to get some traffic. And we're also streaming this live on our YouTube channel, Jersey Aero page YouTube channel.
Now, is that coming in on the email, on my email?
We'll send it out email later on so that
Okay.
everyone could see it. Yeah. So make sure everyone has it in the club.
But
And we'll
not-
do a cut down version of it. It's a little bit
About
shorter
YouTube?
too. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, it would be up on YouTube.
It'll be on
It's
that?
on YouTube now, actually. It's live on YouTube. This whole thing is actually live right now on YouTube.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to come down to Lakewood Airport that's watching right now, get some good food that we have catered. Robert
Oh,
put
yeah.
together a crazy menu. It's
It's
unbelievable. And then you can see the spot landing contest and the kids' activity. So if anyone's watching and wants to come on down, I highly suggest that they do. There it looks like he's turning base over there.
Yep.
Coming back around again. It's a good day for this. I remember last year, the first one I went to was kind of rainy off and on. It wasn't the best day.
Yeah.
Weather wasn't too great. But this year turned out to be fantastic. I just wish I had put sunburn on because I didn't throw any sunburn on myself.
I got some in the car.
I
with it
shouldn't be
now,
out here
so.
too long. I think Guillermo is our last pilot today, so I'm glad you were able to pop by for a few minutes, Phil, and chat
Yeah,
with me.
sure.
I think he's our last pilot for today. Let's see if he can beat
This is number
Alex's
2,
score,
right?
though. This is number 2.
Number
Yep.
2, yeah.
First one, I don't know. They're plugging the numbers here in the Google sheet that I have, but I don't think they put them in quite yet. But here is Guillermo. Yeah, they didn't plug in the numbers yet. So we'll have to see what he does afterwards. I have to relay it somehow over there. Oh, actually, I don't even see anyone at the table.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so we're going to have to look back ourselves and punch the score in. Here he comes on final now. See if we can get that cockpit shot as soon as the drone. What we did, Phil, we got the drone, and we took the blades off of it, and we actually have the passenger holding the drone in the plane, which broadcasts to our production truck down there. So that's how we're able to take that live on the screen right here. So it's a pretty
Even
cool
without
little trick.
blades, it's flying.
Well,
The drone is flying.
It's flying. The drone is flying. Actually, I should go look on the screen to see if it says the altitude and speed.
Yeah.
Because that's funny, because
Oh.
it's not actually flying. So I wonder how it determines that if it's not in the air. All right, let's see if we got a cockpit shot there. Hopefully we got one. Getting bumped around a little bit
There
over
it
those
is.
trees. Oh, there we go. He's looking outside the wing this time. That's a good shot. All right, let's see what he gets here. Little long again, I think.
I see white dust.
I did see white dust.
Yeah.
I wonder if we have a replay of that. And we could kind of determine a little better. Oh, look at that beautiful Piper there.
Yep.
Oh, here we got a replay, Phil. So it's so hard to see with the sun out here, though.
All right, there. Okay. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, he was definitely past the cones, but not too far past. Wish we had our judges down there to give us an official reading, but he's doing really good so far. Oh, that's funny. We just heard from Master Control in the truck that the drone actually is saying the speed and altitude and everything, even though it's not actually flying.
Yeah.
Well, it's flying, but not flying. You know
How
what I mean?
about that? I
That's
take it
actually
what,
pretty
the-
funny.
The camera faces forward on it?
He's holding it in his lap,
okay.
and he can
Oh.
kind of turn it however he wants.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I wonder, we should get an update from the truck to find out what it says the speed and altitude is on the drone screen. That'd be an interesting piece of information to know. We got the other Piper rolling out here. Beautiful paint job on that
Good looking Saratoga, I think.
plane. It looks like a it looks like a 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not from around here, I don't think.
No,
I haven't
transient,
seen that.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, our Saratoga is in the shop right now getting the propeller rebuilt.
Oh, yeah, so I hear.
It's had a little
Yeah.
bit of a grease leak. Last few times I flew it, actually, I noticed a little bit of grease on the backside of the propellers. It wasn't a
Right.
large amount, but it was something that was definitely needed to be addressed. So here he goes. That's a great shot. Let's see where Guillermo is. Was that him coming down back in? Did he land and do a full stop? He might have.
It's a full, yeah. He's right there.
That's him right there. Yeah, I guess he came in and
Yeah.
did a full stop. He did 2 attempts today. All right, so it looks like 41 Juliet Alpha is going to do one more attempt starting from the ground. Man, it is a nice day to fly today. I was a little concerned, Phil, before we came out here, that the wind was going to be doing going the other way, and we'd have to be down at the other end of the runway, which would have not been very much fun. Taking off on 06, we'd have to have the whole crew down that side.
Right.
All right, here he goes. I think after this last landing, Phil, we'll go over there and get lunch.
Yes.
They have. So Robert went over the menu with us a bunch of times, the catering menu, and I'm super excited. There's like a ridiculous amount of good foods on it. So it's nice not to have to cook today on a Sunday. Although I probably would have been home barbecuing on a day like this. There's going to be better barbecue foods.
Yep.
So I'll take a moment to thank my crew for coming out today. Oh, there's the bus right there. Just had a nice shot of the bus, the production bus. We have 4 cameras going on. We have a wireless camera by the bus you just saw on the tripod. We got the camera down the runway. We got one right here, and then we have the drone. Actually, 5 cameras. We have the one that does the speakers over there for the wings seminars in the morning. So got a lot of good crew on today, and they all volunteered to come out here and help. Looks like we got Mark Mizrahi going looking for a tour of the bus. I see him around back there, taking a sip of his water. So what else can we talk about, Phil? Tell me your most. What's your favorite plane to fly? First of all, is it 335 now?
Right now, yeah. My first 100 hours were in at first Aeronca Champs way back. It was falling apart, but then
as long as it doesn't while you're
they
in it,
formed a local flying club.
This
was in Newark, Ohio, near my college.
Okay.
And I had a chance to pay the fee and join the new one airplane flying club, which was the brand new 1957 172. They didn't call them Skyhawks.
Brand new 1957.
Much of my early flying was done in the early model Skyhawks. Then coming to New Jersey and joining the Jersey Aero Club, it was a combination of high and low wing, and I flew both.
What kind of planes did they have back then?
Back then, they had 172s, going all the way back to the 1960s. Now, that was at Asbury Air Terminal.
Which isn't there anymore,
Route 66 in Neptune, the home of Commander Isaac Schlossbach, one of our honorary members, a very famous naval officer and polar explorer. So, I go way back there. And then somewhere about 20 years ago or so, they decided not to buy any more high wing. So all my flying from then on was low wing until a year or so ago, when I heard that we're going to go back and get a Skyhawk. Ooh, here's my chance. Flying it brings back some very fond memories.
Yeah.
Of flying throughout the Midwest, down to Georgia, once up to Canada. Most of that, the flight to Canada was in our earlier Mooney. I flew the Mooney and the 6s earlier, but lately I'm not in a hurry. I don't do long cross country. I'm sticking to the fixed gear.
Yeah, that's
and the fixed prop. So, but I love the fact that we now have a Skyhawk.
I love 335. I'm a big fan of that plane. It's not all technically glass, but it's just with the artificial. It's nice.
Yes.
Nice plane. A lot of power to it. That thing climbs out like a vertical takeoff and landing. That plane. That's amazing. Every time I fly that.
A factor that's very important to me is I have people who love to fly. A few. They're not physically built to get in the low-wing airplanes. I can't get them in the back seat.
Yeah.
I can get them in the back seat of Cessna, no problem.
Yep, you stand right in, you hop right in, yep.
That cabin legroom is phenomenal.
It is.
It's wonderful.
I agree.
And now my passengers, when they join me, they say, "Is it going to be in the Skyhawk?"
I don't know, though. You do the Saratoga, and they'll be like,
"Well, yeah.
Wow."
I know that.
That's why I had a Cessna 150 for many years. I flew initially back in the 90s in 172s, and then I bought my own 150, which I had for about 12 years, which was great. I had the jump seat in the back so we could take our son along when our first son was born, which was great. But then I had 2 more kids and got to the point where that's not going to work anymore. Joined Monmouth first, and then after a few years, I joined JAC here to be able to fly the Saratoga. So now we got the 6th place, and that thing is like driving a Chevy. It's amazing. It's so comfortable
and everybody
so big,
fits in it.
Everyone fits in it.
Yeah.
My wife is comfortable, which is really the most important thing at the end of the day, as long as she's comfortable in it. So here he comes in on final. Guillermo for his third attempt.
Third
There's
landing.
a great shot for the wing. So I feel like I should make up scores for him because we don't have judges down there, but get a pretty good idea where he's landing. Ooh, this one looks good. This one looks good. Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, I think so.
That was a good one. So I want to say his first two were probably like 75 and 75 maybe. I would say. Or maybe 50, 75, and then 75.
You say there's no one down there?
No, he has nobody at the 10, it looks like. I don't see anyone down there for this one. They were in there for all the earlier ones, but I think technically we're on a lunch break, and he missed his time this morning, so they're not scoring his thing right now. He's just doing it for fun.
Oh, I get it.
Which is a little sad. But we'll say that he got 200. How's 200 sound, Phil?
Sounds good, yeah.
All right, so we're going to go back over. We'll roll the promo piece again, and I think we're going to call it a day here. I'm hungry. Are you hungry, Phil?
I am too.
All right,
Looking
perfect.
forward to it.
Let's do it. All right, so
thanks very much.
You're very welcome, Phil. Thank you for joining us. Let's go ahead and run the Jersey Aero promo again. Thank you guys so much for coming out today to the picnic. It was a great time. If you're still in the Lakewood area and want to come down, we'll be here till 3 or 4 o'clock with plenty of food, so come on.